I ask that the quorum call be suspended.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in a few minutes, we're going to vote on my resolution pursuant to the Congressional Review Act to overturn a rule promulgated by the federal government, specifically the Department of Interior. I can't think of a rule, Mr. President, that better demonstrates the arrogance, the hubris of the federal administrative state. It has to do with God's creatures. I talked about this yesterday. This is a barred owl, spelled B-A-R-R-E-D. This is a spotted owl. They're both magnificent animals. If you've ever studied them, they both have very soulful eyes. They have incredibly, you've probably never had an opportunity to pet one, but they have incredibly soft feathers. They're not enemies, they're cousins. There are 19 species of owls in the United States. These two have been around about 11,000 years. They're not enemies. They both hunt. They both hunt mice and lizards and snakes and insects, mosquitoes. The barred owl is slightly bigger than the spotted owl, and the barred owl is a better hunter. That's just the way God made him. Now, the Department of Interior, this started under President Biden, but I don't want to mislead anyone. Secretary Burgum, our current Secretary of the Interior, very, very much opposes my CRA and supports this regulation I'm trying to overturn. What would the regulation do? Here's what it would do. The federal government, which, as I said yesterday, it was true then, it's true now, which can't even deliver the mail when the stuff has an address right on the front of it, and in particular, the Department of Interior, under President Biden, and now under President Trump. As an aside, it's very hard, Mr. President, to piss off both the Biden administration and the Trump administration, but I've managed to do that. That's okay. I think I'm right. The Department of Interior is proposing to kill 453,000 barred owls. Kill them. Mamas, daddies, babies. Why? To protect, they say, the spotted owl. You go, whoa, why does the spotted owl need protecting from the barred owl? They're cousins. They share the same habitat. Sometimes they have sex. It's not unknown that a barred owl will marry a spotted owl. A barred owl marries another barred owl for life, in fact. And sometimes a barred owl will marry a spotted owl. The barred owl doesn't eat the spotted owl. The barred owl doesn't kill the spotted owl, but the barred owl's a better hunter. And the Department of Interior says because of that, they've got to kill 453,000 barred owls to help the spotted owls. That's what the federal government has come down to. We've now got DEI for owls. According to the Department of Interior, bad owl, good owl. but we're not talking about an admission to college. If you're on the wrong end of this DEI proposal, you don't get the owl doesn't not get admitted to college, the owl gets killed. I've been around a little while. I've seen a few vampire movies. This isn't the first one of these, but this is one of the worst examples I've ever seen of the arrogance and the hubris of the federal government. This is bone deep, down to the marrow, stupid. Let me tell you why. First of all, it's not going to work. The federal government is going to send out a bunch of hunters. Here's one of their hunters. That's what he'll probably look like. They're going to send out a bunch of hunters at night with flashlights and shotguns. Because owls are nocturnal. They live at night. They come out at night. They hide during the day. And both barred owls and spotted owls live about 40 feet up in the trees. So they're going to send these cowboys out there with their little lights, and they're going to point up, and they're supposed to shoot the barred owl and not shoot the spotted owl. Dreamweaver. So to kill the barred owls, it's inevitable, they're going to kill some spotted owls. Number two, I've been all through the regulation. I see no indication where using lead shot is prohibited. We've changed the rules about using lead versus steel shot because we've realized how dangerous lead is. So they're going to kill, if they use lead shot, which is a lot cheaper than steel shot, they'll kill some barred owls. They'll also kill some spotted owls. They'll also kill some eagles. They're also going to kill a bunch of hawks, and they're going to kill a bunch of other wildlife because they eat the lead, and the lead kills them. It's not going to work. The third reason it's not going to work, and what the Department of Interior won't tell you, is that the barred owl, which is native to the eastern United States, started moving west into the jurisdiction of the spotted owl about 100 years ago. It's been steadily moving west because the old-growth forests where the barred owl lived in the eastern United States and northeastern Canada was cut to make room for people. So the barred owl started moving west, and now the barred owl is in Washington and Oregon and Northern California and British Columbia. Once again, they don't eat each other. They don't kill each other. But the spotted owl that the Department of Interior says it's got to save was losing population well before the barred owl moved in. You know why that is? Because what's happening in the west is the same thing that was happening in the east. As we gain population and people move to the suburbs, we reduce old-growth forests, which reduces the habitat for both owls. I'm not saying that we shouldn't harvest trees appropriately. I'm not saying that. But we've also had wildfires. That's what's damaging the spotted owl. It's not the barred owl. Final point, this isn't going to work, that unlike some of the employees of the Department of Interior, barred owl isn't stupid. Once you start shooting the barred owl is going to just move on up to Canada. And as soon as the coast is clear, barred owl is going to come back. Okay? So you're not going to do anything to help the spotted owl. Number two, the second reason that this regulation is bone deep down the marrow stupid is it's going to be expensive. In 2024, the Department of Interior issued a contract to kill, I think it was 1,500 barred owls. I don't know how they could do it. I don't know how they had the authority, but they did it. It's the way the bureaucracy works. They hired hunters. They paid them $3,000 a bird. $3,000 a bird. So if they went out at night with their little flashlights, looking 40 feet up in the trees, and they killed a daddy barred owl, they got $3,000. If they killed a mama barred owl, they got $3,000. If they killed a baby barred owl, they got another $3,000. And if they, you know how they really hit the jackpot? They'd catch a mama barred owl in her nest protecting her baby chicks. One shotgun shell, you hit all 3 baby chicks, that's $9,000. That's what we're going to use taxpayer money paying for. Now, the Department of Interior wants to send out these folks to kill 453,000 barred owls at $3,000 a pop. That's $1.3 billion, not million, $1 billion. To try to protect the spotted owl. Not because the spotted owl's hurting anybody. Not because the barred owl's hurting anybody. The barred owl is just a better hunter. And the Department of Interior will tell you that. The barred owl is better. They both do the same thing. They're better at catching prey, and they think that's putting pressure on the spotted owl. Spotted owl isn't on the endangered species list. If the spotted owl is in such bad shape, why hasn't the Department of Interior moved to put the spotted owl on the endangered species list? You know why. Because they can't. Because they're not endangered. The Department of Interior likes to use the word threatened. 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 Well, hell, zebras are threatened by lions. But the Interior Department, at least not yet, is suggesting we go kill all lions because they eat zebras. Now, I don't want to mislead anyone. This regulation was promulgated under President Biden. But Secretary Burgum, with whom I have spoke, I have great respect for him, is adamant that this is a good rule and a good regulation. In fact, he told me that as I mentioned yesterday, that by opposing his idea, I was slandering the Trump administration. I'm slandering the Trump administration. No, I'm trying to help the Trump administration. I'm trying to save the Department of Interior and the Secretary from himself. In a rare moment of candor, let me tell you what one employee from the Department of the Interior said. Told a reporter, probably got fired for it. But this is what he said, and he was and is a fish and wildlife employee and expert. He said, quote, I think all we can really do, he said, is try our best to provide a habitat for spotted owls, and in the long run, we're just going to have to let the 2 species work it out. Final point I'll make, what aggravates me the most about this, I know the employees at the Department of Interior are smart and virtuous. I know they're smarter and more virtuous than me. But who appointed them God? Who appointed them Pope? Animals migrate all the time. Happens all the time. Not just mammals, but all animals. They move location. So we're going to get in the business. We're going to be in the business of telling animals, well, you can live here, but you can't live there. We're also going to be in the business of choosing which owls can live and which owls can die. I'm going to end like I ended yesterday. This is my advice to my friends at the Department of Interior. I don't mean any disrespect saying it. Life is hard. Life is very, very hard. but it's a lot harder when you're stupid. And this regulation is stupid. And we will live to regret it. Just like China, back when Mao, during the Great Leap Forward, issued a decree in his arrogance and with his hubris to kill all the sparrows in China, and they did. Just like we're going to kill all the owls. 2 million of the Chinese people died. That's what happens when you mess with God and Mother Nature. And as a result, they had to import sparrows. We'll end up someday, if they do this, having to import barred owls. We'll regret it. I don't know, Mr. President, what I'm supposed to say next to start the vote, but I'm ready. Here it is. I move to proceed to CAL number, what does CAL stand for? Calendar. Oh, okay, thanks. I move to proceed to calendar 190, SJ Res 69.
The clerk will report.